Welcome back, Gale Force. Yesterday we talked about Lyre, and today I'd like to thank you for attending my presentation about Lethe, her older sister from Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. First, let's talk about her traits. In Path of Radiance, Lethe first joins you in Chapter 10 alongside Mordecai. She comes with decent stats for her join time, as well as a Beork guard that either her or Mordecai can make use of. As expected of the Laguz, all of her growths are quite high with a special focus on skill and speed. Her transformed Laguz form is a cat, and her affinity is heaven, much like Stefan, who we covered in a previous presentation. When compared with Mordecai, who joins at the same time as her, Leith will have lower HP strength and defense, but higher skill, speed, and resistance. However, a very important edge she has over him is that Leith begins every map transformed, allowing her to immediately contribute to combat as well as making her much more capable of dodging incoming attacks. This makes Leith a solid frontliner at the start of combats, but one must use her cautiously as she becomes a sitting duck once her gauge runs out. Her contributions tend to wane once you acquire the demi-band, as from that point forward either Moiram or Mordecai can remain transformed for an entire chapter at the cost of half their transformation bonuses. Later on, Janaf and Olki can make great use of this band as well, and Leith is generally rendered obsolete. In Radiant Dawn, Leith is first available in Part 2, Chapter 2, where she is force deployed. She comes with the Laguz Stone, so you can use her without worrying as much about running out of her power at this time. Her growths are lower this time around, likely to compensate for the fact that Laguz transformations now double stats rather than increasing them by 1.5 times. For her join time, Leith will be a fairly decent unit, but certainly not the best. Her base stats are all around solid, and her speed is quite high, but her growths being low and the slow gain of EXP really hampers her potential. As a cat Laguz, her biggest weakness is what was her greatest strength in the previous game. Her transforming at the start of combat comes with the steep penalty of changing back to normal far quicker, her transformation likely only lasting a few rounds. While she can be used after part 2, she will begin to sustain much heavier damage and will require much of your supply of Olivigrass to keep her going that is better fed to other Laguz. In conclusion, Leith is a decent, if not outstanding unit in Path of Radiance who tends to fall off around the mid-game, and a one-and-done unit in Radiant Dawn who will help you out in Part 2, but shouldn't receive much consideration afterwards. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the bell if you'd like to get notified when I post a new video. A special thank you to patrons 60 Sweep and Gorilla Danny for subscribing at the Paladin tier, and Average Stat Pat and Caius Griffin for subscribing at the Great Lord tier. And also, to YouTube members Jerry for joining at the Paladin tier, and Caius Griffin, who again joined at the Great Lord tier. I'd really appreciate if you checked out the links in the description if you can, but otherwise, have a great rest of your day.